still booking a trip to Turkey despite the coronavirus. He says, whoops, sorry. I meant that text for my daughter who's traveling abroad after college graduation. So sorry.
And with that, we are sitting here with Gunnar Mench. Gunnar is all the way in from Hawaii for the Lit Week show. We talk about growing up in the same town. We talk a lot about Garry Shandling for a heck of a lot of reasons. And the fact that we may be related. Paul Newman, we get to Paul Newman and that famous photograph as well. Your dad, oh my gosh, famous photographer. Yep. Your gallery in Hawaii as well as your region of the PCA. All that and more with Gunnar Mench. Mrs. Ryan does the news and we do some videos and stuff. See you then.
Aloha.
Hi, Mrs. Ryan.
Aloha.
Aloha. It's the Aloha show. It's the Aloha Welcome Back show. Holy cow, are we excited about this one. We say that all the time. I'm getting more and more excited. That's what I found. I noticed in the edits back where I say like, oh, we're excited, we're excited. And I've said that forever, but I'm getting more and more excited with all the guests we're getting lately.
Yeah, we've had some fun people here.
Between the people who are coming in, like today, who I'm going to tell you about in just 1 second, and then just the fact that we're becoming more knowledgeable of the people in the industry where we're either becoming friends with or just learning more things about people that everyone else knows, and we're just late to the party. But
yeah.
How you doing? Welcome back.
Fine.
I like your rainbow.
Gotta bring the aloha.
Was that intentional?
Yes.
I love that. Is that it is a Honolulu Surf Company shirt?
Yeah.
Our favorite place to go spend money in Hawaii.
I keep it as in posterity in good check as I can. I love this shirt.
When we used to travel all the time, it was the first stop we would make. We wouldn't bring many clothes to Hawaii because we would like shopping there so much. We had our friends at the store and obviously all the items and the whole bit. So we would go with suitcases with just basically some essentials and maybe like some dress clothes. And then we would just go there a lot. Like the first stop and somewhere in the middle at least. And if we ever needed anything, whoop, I lost a flip-flop. Whoop.
Need a new bathing suit. They have good stuff there.
All right. Well, with that, it is the Aloha Show. Welcome back to the Late Night Playset. My name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. And this is a show we've been trying to put together for a while. Our guest does not live here. He is in from Hawaii, if you couldn't guess, with the Aloha Show. And it's somebody I'm excited to talk about for a lot of reasons. I think we're going to talk a lot about Porsche, but some of the places I want to go with you have nothing to do with Porsche, or at least very little so far as I know. Gunnar Mench is here tonight. Gunnar Mench is here from the great state of Hawaii. And you live on the Big Island?
I'm the Big Island.
You're on the Big Island of Hawaii. And PCA member there?
I started the PCA region on the Big Island. We pulled away from the rest of the state.
How about that? So it's different than just the Hawaii region. It's its own.
It's its own region.
And you started it.
Zone 11. Zone 11 is Hawaii and Alaska.
Hang on, it's Zone 11?
Zone 11.
Nice.
Great.
Gunnar Mench is going to be in here to talk about all of this and some places, like I said, that I am dying to go. I think we have a lot of stuff in common, straight down to our DNA level. And I have been avoiding this guy. He's been sending me messages on Facebook. I'm excited about coming. And I'm like, I've literally been a jerk to try to avoid him because I'm dying to do it here.
Same.
Yeah. So, thanks for not taking offense.
He's
Thanks for
so
showing up
great.
anyway.
It's great.
He's like, I think I know you. I feel like we met. I'm like, sure. I hope so, because I love you.
Oh, it's the greatest. So Gunnar Mench will be in here in a few minutes. Until then, Mrs. Ryan, we do have a bunch of stuff to get through. I've got a couple East Coast feeds, not too bad. I think they're both short, and I actually saw them both. They're quite funny. We've got to go behind the orange curtain. We've got a couple announcements to make, and of course, we've got your news. Where on earth should we journey to first?
I think East Coast feed.
Yeah, I agree. Good call. Let us check in now with Danbury Chive, and I believe we're Brooke and the Kaz Man, and I think we're in New Milford again. Roll it out.
Yes, you look great, babe. Say hi to Mr. and Mrs. Ryan. You don't have to see yourself.
Are you recording the whole time?
Just now I'm recording.
Hi. No, I'm just tired. I want to do that.
Brooke wants to just take a nap. East Coast feed from Bank Street again, Mr. Ryan, because Brooke had to do her taxes today. So we went for a little afternoon visit. What? And she's adulting today. So we went to a little adult afternoon food while we waited for our tax professional. And that's it. Now we're headed back to the car. That's our East Coast feed. Happy weekend, Mr. Ryan. Love the sun. It's almost like we're in California, except it's fucking cold. But look, did you just fall? Did you just fall? She did. Look, LA sweatshirt. It's like I'm in LA. Woo! Say goodbye to the boys and girls.
Oh my gosh. All right, couple things there. One, they were on Bank Street again. That was in New Milford where they shot Mr. Deeds. Also, were the Comedians in Cars coffee episode with Jerry Seinfeld and David Letterman, where they went to the little coffee shop and then the hardware store after. That was all right there on that same street as well. And also our guest recognized that same street because you've got friends who live in the same town. Yeah. Shout out to the McKees. Dan McKee. Deb and Dan McKee.
That's the coolest.
Out in New Milford. Oh, that's great. And then Brooke ate shit, but it wasn't on camera. It was great.
Yeah.
She did that perfectly.
I'm so impressed with that one.
I am too. All right, one more. Checking in with, I believe we're still Brooke and the Casman, somewhere else, maybe the next night. Roll it out.
Yes, another Container Store.
Oh my God, why do you do this to me?
Because we got East Coast feed for Jay and Nicole. So we just left White Plains.
So I was prepared for the video we took earlier, and now we have another video.
Apparently, the first video didn't record. So anyway, we just left Bowlmore, which is a bowling alley. Right?
Just so you guys know, I'm not a delinquent. This is the first time I've been out in like a year and a half. I think it's 1:20. I've never been up this late in my life. I just want to let you guys know that. I'm a professional businesswoman.
All right, well, we love you guys. It's bowling and White Plains night. We love you.
Love you.
Where's the peace sign? Give me a peace sign. There it is.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Holy awesome.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones.
Same.
So apparently,
sure.
Kaz sent me a message with it that went along and said she had been drinking that night. Now, as we'd been told in the past, she's allergic to alcohol, so she never drinks. So there you go.
That makes sense.
Yeah, she looked adorable. Brooke, I love you. Good for you.
Adorable. Way to have fun with it. I'm all about it.
I adore those two people. They're very special people.
Love you guys.
I didn't like the way I said that. Very, very good people. Very special people.
Sounded very Larry David.
All right. Well, that's better than what I heard. Very nice. Also, we forgot to talk about the weekend. Huge Breakfast Club. That was great. There'll probably be a big one this week. We'll talk about that later. And then also huge turnout and good time at the Los Angeles Cars and Coffee up at the new location at the merry-go-round in Griffith Park. Incredible setting.
Gorgeous.
Maybe the best setting I've ever seen for a car show.
I kept hearing that. Like, everyone that walked by was like, it's so pretty here. Like, it's beautiful. The photos are great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
and
gorgeous.
full 360. We're just in this little, clearing in the woods. Gorgeous.
Beautiful.
So shout out to OCL and Joel, of course, who we had a great conversation with. Joel.
It's nice
love
to
you, Joel.
see you guys.
Okay, Mrs. Ryan, moving on.
Yes, sir.
We have to check in with the Orange Curtain because Paul Kennel is going to be talking about this weekend. And then when we come back, we'll probably talk some more about this weekend.
Good.
Check.
Remind me I have something to say.
Do you want to do it now or wait after?
After.
Okay. Checking in now with Mr. Paul Kennel. Roll it up.
Howdy, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan. This is Paul Kennel calling from Otto Kramer's. Getting ready for the 11th annual open house, our big annual open house in celebration of the Porsche Lit Show weekend that's been going on for almost 40 years. We are busting at the seams. We have so many cool new toys that have just arrived in the last few days. So we are even sticking stuff in our overflow lot too. We've got someone you know's new GT2 waiting for pickup. 968's going. There's my daily driver. There's Jennifer's Bug. And we are sticking stuff in our neighbor's garage. So hopefully we'll see you and everyone else on Friday coming up the 28th. All day long, we got pizza and fun and hang out. Love you guys.
Pizza and fun?
Wow.
Who wouldn't go for pizza and fun?
Yeah. That's a lit week extraordinaire at Auto Kennel.
Oh, I love the Kennels. Thank you, Paul Kennel.
Thank you.
Thank you, the Ed Kennel. Jennifer Kennel.
Yeah.
By proxy.
Yeah. And all I wanted to say was thank you. And we're going to hopefully be seeing a lot more of them on the show. I think we're going to get involved with them somehow.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that.
He's excited too. I think it's the new haircut.
His, yours, mine?
His. He looked all trim on the video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Well, that's great. That's great. I can't wait to hear more about that.
Just found
when
out.
we do. And then, so that leads me to weekend announcements. There's a lot of stuff. It's Lit Week. That's why our guest is in town, as a matter of fact. It's LA Lit Week. And speaking of, we should give some thanks to a little, our envelope arrived in the mail from Rex the other day. Rex from the 356 Club of Southern California. Got our stuff to go to the old
Cool.
swap meet. There you go, Mrs. Ryan. You're
Thanks,
all covered
Rex.
that. But so let's talk about what's going on. I don't know all of the things. You probably maybe know more than I do. But for sure, I know that we are going to be dark on Thursday because we have missed the Sierra Madre. We've missed all of them, actually. But the last couple of years, we've been wanting to go to the Sierra Madre open house on Thursday. So we're going to do that. And then also the Gunther Works grand opening. They have a new space and a
Cool.
new shop down there, I think, in Huntington Beach. So
Cool.
we're going to do that. That's going to be fun. And then Friday, of course, we have Breakfast Club. But the events are stacked all day long. So if you are up early and want to go for a drive, there's Breakfast Club. After that, we're going to go to that auto kennel deal there. And then after that, there is John Benton, who is this is the welcome back. Hey, we're back in service.
Reopening the shop.
Grand reopening. It's a big
Cool.
deal. At the same time, there are tons of other ones. I know there's Pelican. I know there's Tony Callis we're trying to go to as well. We're going to sandwich that in. So there are tons and tons of events. Then, that's for, oh, and then, yeah, is that right? Yeah. And then Saturday morning is a professor run. Before, this is the actual day of the Lit Show. Professor run, meeting out at Trancas at 8 a.m. if you want to go. Told him we would help promote. 8 a.m. out at Trancas, planning to drive at about 8:30. You do about a 60-mile run and then end up down at the Lit Meet down at the LAX Hilton. So
Cool.
And then, of course, there's the Lit Show. Then in the afternoon, we have Rod Emery's open house. Got a big nod. And on and on and on. And I think there's more stuff throughout the weekend. Of course, yeah. This is Sunday, so it's just stacked. We're
There's
going to need to
lots
figure out
happening.
your energy, and you're going to need to go to bed on Wednesday, and I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's going to be
Great.
fun, though. A lot of stuff.
Can't wait.
So that's what's going on.
It's
I think
shit
I got
like
it
that
all.
that's worth expending my energy on.
I just don't have the information now, but there is also, I think, one at Esposito that we're going to try and hit as well. I just don't know what day
Okay.
and where, so I'm getting a nod on that one as well. Yeah. Are there any other ones that I missed that you know of?
There's so many.
So many,
It's
yeah.
Unreal. LA dismantlers.
LA Dismantler is another one. That's right. Sarah, our friend Sarah. So, all right. So there's tons of stuff. I think if I can find a link, I'm going to talk to my friend at home for a second. I'm going to talk. Oh, you do?
I do.
Then we'll put the link in afterwards.
Great.
All right. Fantastic. Now that we got that out of the way.
There will be a link.
Talk to my friend at home. Okay. Are we good?
I think so.
All right. Mrs. Ryan, it's time to ask the question that's on everyone's mind.
Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. What's going on?
Whoa, what's going on, Mrs. Ryan? Dun, 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 dun.
Studies have found that newer puppies are suffering from separation anxiety that mimics panic attacks in humans.
It's kind of all the same thing, right? You're having a panic attack because of the separation?
It's probably all the same, but because of whatever, one way to assuage some of that fear is a stuffed animal. And so there's this thing that has been created called the snuggle puppy.
Snuggle puppy.
That has a heartbeat, heat pack. So it's warm and it feels
it
like
feels alive?
a brother, sister, sibling.
It's nice.
It is what it is. You know, I think what I've known from friends of mine, like parents and anyone that sees anyone that they love struggling, will do anything in their power to fix it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so now that animals have a sentience that people are paying attention to, they're like, oh, that one's nervous when I'm not here. What can I do? So this is there's something to try.
Okay.
It looked
I'm all
cute.
for making anything more comfortable.
That's what it comes down to. You never know. MI7, there's the seventh Mission Impossible, but it halted production. In Venice, Italy, it was going to shoot for 3 weeks there.
trying
'Cause
to do a
of the
live
corona-
thing while I do this. We
Oh.
talked about this over the weekend, so you go ahead.
I remember. The coronavirus is everywhere. Kudos to the production people for paying attention. They're shutting down production, so we'll see. But
Yeah.
it's a little
Indeterminate
delayed.
amount of time, right? Or undetermined amount of time?
Yeah, everything is indeterminate when it comes to the coronavirus, I think.
So there's a couple people here. We're doing an Instagram live while Mrs. Ryan does the news. It's
Yay.
what's going on, Mrs. Ryan. Dun, 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 on Instagram live. We've never done that.
Fingers crossed, guys.
Gunnar Mench is in the house, and he's getting us back. So funny. So here's a little tour of the old deal here. There you go. All right.
Oh,
back to the news.
technology. Okay, there is a new Colgate Zero, which is a toothpaste. Colgate seems to be the latest one to come out with no added chemical products in their stuff. So it's something new to look at, but that's what it is. It's not like Coke Zero. It's like, we'll put a bunch of chemicals and say there's no sugar. Colgate's like, no products that are bad for you, basically, no chemicals. So
When I was a kid, and I don't know if this is still the case, but when I was a kid, I remember learning in Wilton High School, Gunnar, that toothpaste had a whole bunch of things you didn't know about in it, like formaldehyde,
I heard formaldehyde.
like white paint, like bleach. These are all things that are in most toothpastes. Let
Yeah.
alone what's the one that these it's supposed to help your teeth, but there's a big conspiracy
Fluoride.
theory. Yeah, that's it. Fluoride.
yeah, I've heard all that stuff too. So Vale's coming back left and right.
Oh, that's so funny. That's
It's
a good
clear.
one. Yeah. Oh wait, and that was it.
That
Oh
was
gosh,
it.
hang on. There's so many things to do. All right. Well, that's been what's going on, Mrs. Dun, 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 dun. Holy cow. And that's been our Instagram live for now. Tune in tonight to see Gunnar Mench.
Yay.
All right. Well, that was fun. I don't think I can do. That's just one too many things for me.
Yeah. I saw your eyes just shut off. Like
I
there's
was trying
too
to
much
listen to
happening.
the news, and I was just like, I mean, she's so pretty. Thank God she's so pretty.
Thank God, I will take it.
All right. That's it. We got through it all. I'm so happy. All right, Mrs. Ryan, it is time to do a break. We're going to get our guest Gunnar Mench in here, and this is time to open up the old Pandora's box.
Great.
I've been waiting. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Quick break. Gunnar Mench is going to be sitting in that chair right there when we come back. More to come with the Late Night Playset. Really?
You guys are awesome.
Dude, I think
Oh, it's so delicious. It's the hot sauce made by Bears. Garlic and serrano mixed with love and care. You can put it on your eggs, pour it on your rice. It's great on a leg, it's better on a slice. It's oh so delicious. It's the hot sauce made by Bears. Oh, so delicious hot sauce. Great on everything except oatmeal.
Get your bottle today at ohsodelicious.org. $1 from every bottle sold goes to the National Military Family Association.
You know what I like about this? You made a mess as soon as you got here. This is my favorite thing. You moved in. Holy crap, man. This is it. We're really doing it.
We're live?
We are on. We're
Oh
back.
my God.
What's going on, Gunnar?
The world.
This is amazing for me. For everyone else, if you're just tuning in now for some reason, we've been waiting to have this guy on we've been trying to put it together for probably 6 months,
6
I think,
months,
about
yeah.
you guys.
That's about it.
And it had to, obviously, we had to get you in town. That was a big part of it. And the lit meet is what did it.
Yep.
Now you're here. I don't know where to start, but let's at least handle this stuff, and then we'll go from there. What do you got here?
I got your schedule for the lit meet, all the activities,
Really did it. It's all printed
because
out.
I need to do that for
Let's just see
myself.
what we missed. Oh, this is great because you're doing in fact, you should tell everybody about this. You're doing the tour.
I'm doing the tours, the tour package, and they have a couple different, places they can go to. But like, there's things I have to see, things I have to go to, like the Emery's. I got to do that
Yep.
on on Saturday after the lit meet. Gary Emery, Rod's dad, is a member of our Big Island Hawaii Club. He's one of the
out.
founding members.
I love that.
He one of his best buddies from high school, who since passed away, lives on the Big Island. Tom's son, Tom Anderson's son, Jeff is the one who really got me motivated to get the whole thing together. He organized something back on the 50th anniversary of the 9/11 and he did a 50-50-50 run. There was no club. 50 estate, 50 miles, 50 years of the 9/11.
Okay.
We didn't get 50 cars together. We only got 26. But 26 Porsches on the Big Island.
I was going to say, isn't that a tall order? I mean, how many Porsches? You probably know the answer to this. How many
26
Porsches
is
are
a good
on the
amount.
Big Island?
Between 200 and 300.
That's more than I would have expected.
Yeah.
Say, yeah.
That's more than I would expect.
I
How many do you have?
I skew the numbers.
I was going to say.
I have 16. I'm an addict.
You moved the needle a little bit.
Yeah, I moved the needle. Yeah.
That's so many.
It comes from being raised with it, and just truly being addicted to Porsche. I
Yeah.
mean, my dad was a friend of Ferry Porsches.
Well, hang on. Before we get to all that, you're going to do this whole tour thing,
I'm
and
gonna do
you
this
did
whole
this
thing.
last year, so you found out that this is the best thing for you to do.
Last year was the first time I did it, and this is so great because you don't have to drive around town.
Mm-hmm.
You get on a bus. They have several buses going to these various locations, and each shop, they all do a barbecue or something else or pizza, whatever. You get fed the whole day. It's so good. And so you get on this thing in the morning, and you drive, after your breakfast in the morning, and you drive, and you just go and stop and go and stop and go and see all your old friends and people you only communicate with, like on Facebook and
social
stuff like
media.
that, social media stuff. And so it's so great. And we see each other at other events, too. We see each other at Luftgekühlt. I went to 3 of the Luftgekühlts here. And the
last
Porsche
3?
parades. Yeah, the last 3.
Okay.
And, Patrick knows me, too.
Sure.
And so it's just hysterical. To get together with everyone is such a trip. It's a family.
Yeah.
It's really a
Is it a
close-knit-
reunion for you because you're coming all the way back over every time?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of
That's
along
neat.
that way, yeah.
That's neat. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want
Go
to
ahead.
get to that stuff. I'd like to back up, though, because most people who watch this show know there's kind of 3 questions I ask most people. Here they are. I ask about their childhood, I ask if they like cars, and I ask about comedy. You're already laughing because you already know where I'm going. Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Würzburg, Germany, in northern Bavaria. We emigrated to Connecticut to a town called Ridgefield, right near Wilton.
Bordering
town in Fairfield County, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a few years older, but
Oh, yeah. Maybe. This time around.
this time around, yeah.
We may have
exactly.
met before.
I would believe that in a heartbeat. I would. Yeah.
So what was it like? And then you were in Ridgefield, and you grew up in Ridgefield, right?
I grew up in Ridgefield.
That's incredible to
Around
me.
cars as well, of course.
What was this like?
We don't have enough time.
What was this like? But for me, I don't know anyone else who has my childhood. I don't know anyone else who has this connection, let alone where we're going to go in a few minutes.
Right.
I don't have this much stuff in common with most people. How's that? I'm
Right.
kind of a weird bug. My interests are all over the place. Cars and David Letterman? Okay.
I've been dying to meet you. Well, my connection, too, on the whole Letterman thing is with Garry Shandling, who was a close friend for about 10 years before he passed away. And he had a pulmonary embolism the week before, and that killed him. The week before I had my 2 strokes. And I was supposed to be at his funeral in L.A. and couldn't go because I was in ICU.
Yeah.
Hooked up to monitors. My whole left side was paralyzed, and my vision was gone to the right. Now, this came back in about 5 months, and this is continuing work. But
Really?
I mean, just in the last year, Sarah, we talked about earlier, Sarah,
LA Dismantler.
LA Dismantler. She sent me a picture yesterday of me at LA Dismantler last year, and there I was with a cane, and just moping around, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it was, even in a year, I've made so much progress. It's just amazing. I can't believe it's almost 4 years now.
Well, we're bouncing all around, but this is the stuff I want to get to. You're having grown up in the same town. I mean, I don't know if you know this. My dad's still buried there. So, I mean, like, it's a whole
wow.
thing for me. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole a lot of like trauma stuff from way back when that didn't get ironed out till later in life, you know?
Right.
So it still holds a special place for me. Now you move to my contemporary life where Garry Shandling is one of the most important people in my life, and he's no longer even here. And I didn't know the man very well. I didn't know him at all. I met him a couple times. But the gist of it is, when our whole life, you know, a couple years ago kind of got turned upside down, as Will Smith likes to say, we were in a lost place, and we decided we were going to tell this story about, you know, the David Letterman story and the whole thing, and decided that Garry Shandling was the guy who was going to help me do it, and we had enough connections to him, and certainly we could get to him, and that was the decision. The plan was made. It was like, okay, we are forging forward. 2-3 days later, she calls me when I'm driving in the car, and she said, call me when you pulled over. I said, whatever. And she said, yeah. And she sent me the link that Garry Shandling had died. And I pulled over into a Ralph's parking lot, and I just started sobbing uncontrollably. Like, I don't know this guy. I don't. He was special to me in that I loved his work.
Right.
And I felt something more through his work, but I didn't know him. So this reaction was even I was a little bit taken by it. And I thought, oh, well, maybe she kind of predicted it. Maybe she kind of brought it out of me. And as I was having this whole, like, I wasn't just crying. I was genuine. I mean, I was like, my guts were coming out of me in the car. And somehow, in the same moment, I mean, I was only feeling that pain for about 2-3 minutes. And this is where things get weird. And I wouldn't tell other people. And I normally wouldn't say this on the show, but it's because of you being here and you knowing him. I felt something say to me not to worry. And here's the weird thing. I think they said, he's still here, but it was Gary's voice. I think it was Garry saying he's still here, but like, I'm still here. You know what I mean? Like, I can't really put it together, but literally
You're giving me chicken skin again.
Immediately that pain went away. And I said, oh, this is okay. It's all, I had a universal fucking unlock where I was like, oh, we're not gone. It was a whole crazy thing that I don't talk about because it makes me sound crazy to somebody who doesn't believe the same things.
We're there. We needed to meet a long time ago. You know that.
I do. So this is it. You're the closest thing to me to meeting Garry Shandling now, because I know that you were close, and I know that there's a lot of things. You did have a relationship, and I want to talk about that. So I spilled my guts. I told you what I know. This is a guy, for everyone else, who was very, very special to me, and he happens to have sat in the very chair that you're sitting in right now.
Oh, my God.
So,
talk about chicken skin.
To give you an idea, because Garry and I would take hikes together, we'd go to lunch together, we'd just go take a ride, whatever. He took a drive with me in my 74 911 one day. My wife snapped a couple shots out in front of the gallery, which was really cool.
God.
Garry and I in my old 74 Gemini Blue 911. And he was a Porsche guy, of course. When he did the...
You say of course, but I don't know how many people know that, and I didn't really know it until watching that Comedians in Cars episode where they were in the 911. And Jerry said, oh, Garry was one of the first people I know who had a 911. That's my knowledge of
it.
They
had a 930. They both had turbos.
There you go. Tell us everything you want to tell us.
They both had turbos. Well, it was back in the day when they were both, riding high on their first up through everything. And Garry and Jerry would, they'd meet every once in a while, or they loved their turbo Porsche 911s.
Just go drive and stuff.
Just go drive. He loved to drive. Of course, Gary's vision was terrible. And
always?
He had always, and it got worse. But he had some problem where he got one of those procedures where they shave your lens to make it, to make you...
The LASIK or whatever?
The LASIK or something.
Yeah, sure.
He had a LASIK and it went bad. And
That's right.
Almost nobody knows about it.
No, that's when the sunglasses thing started, right?
Yeah. And so the LASIK thing went bad. He had it corrected later, but it was still always bad. And if you knew him well enough, if he tried to look at something, it was always at a distance of about 6 inches away, so he could read it. So he wasn't a very good driver. I understand the old 911 he had that was sold from his estate had lots of dings and dents in it. And he complained to me all the time. He says, Gunnar, I've got this I hate my house. He was always complaining about the site, the way his house was laid out.
He was.
In Brentwood.
The Brentwood
So,
house, yeah.
The Brentwood house. He complained. He told me the whole story about the architects and all this thing. And
It was facing the wrong way. Everything's wrong.
Everything was wrong. The feng shui and the whole thing was bad. Of course, he was a converted Jew who turned into Buddhist monk. And he had the monks over there. I've got pictures of him with the monks in his backyard and stuff like that. And I was invited to come up there and play basketball with the guys when they did that once a week and stuff.
I love that.
And I
Look,
never,
you're our
we never
first
connected.
non-comedian guest who's been invited to the
Yeah.
We've had a few people who used to go to those basketball games. You're our
Oh, wow.
first automotive guest.
Yeah, well, I've been invited. And when I was here before he passed away, I called him up when I was in town, picking up the blue 911 that I purchased from a guy here, also in Brentwood. And the good doctor was a client of mine at the art gallery that I own, Harbor Gallery, back in Kauai on the Big Island. And so he sold me the car. It had been his dad's. And so I picked it up from him after his dad had been passed for about 10 years or so. And I drove it right up to Rensport 5.
Mm-hmm.
The license plate on the car is RenV. RENNV
Come on.
is the license plate in Hawaii. Because the car's been there. Actually, twice it's been there to Rensport. So I drove it right from L.A. to there. But while I was in L.A., I called Garry, and he didn't answer his phone. I left him a message. And he calls me back the next day. He says, I'm so upset. Damn it. I didn't listen to my messages. I didn't answer my phone. Damn it. If I'd known you were in town, you'd have been over here in a heartbeat, and I brought you over. So I was like...
You sounded exactly like him. I mean, you clearly spent some time with him. That was crazy.
The Thanksgiving before he passed, he came to my house, and I cooked Thanksgiving dinner. He took pictures of my turkey. He was so impressed that I cooked a turkey that nice. I love to cook.
In Hawaii, you did that?
Oh, heck yeah.
Awesome.
He was there on island. I said, Garry, you're not doing anything for Thanksgiving. Why don't you come up to the house and have Thanksgiving?
Do people know how special Hawaii was that he would go there a lot?
He went there at least 6 times a year. He would stay at the Four Seasons Hualalai.
That's a lot.
And he had a condo that we'd stay in right on the beach, and always the same place. And
that's
other
nice.
friends
So
were
like
there.
he had his place
Yeah,
there.
like he had his
Sure,
place.
sure.
But he kept looking for a spot to get. He'd look in Puako, he'd look in all the areas around there.
He's not going to make the same mistake. He wouldn't have been happy with whatever he picked.
Well, whatever. Exactly.
There's decision in indecision,
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of Garry stories, but
Gosh.
he was just a remarkable person and so funny. This one incident, we're taking a hike out in the back from my house to the back of Waipio Valley, and on the way, and he'd just had his surgery on his thyroid and stuff like that, where he had some problems and stuff. So
This is towards the end then, right?
towards the end,
Okay.
probably 3 years before the end.
Okay.
Anyways, but so we take this hike, and he's finally got enough energy to go on this hike. So we go part way. We don't go all the way back to the valley, but at one point, there are these bridges with water pipes, huge water pipes that run for the irrigation system in that part of the island. It used to be wooden trestles, but the earthquakes in 2006 took out the trestles.
Wow.
So they wouldn't hold the water, so they had to replace them with new steel pipes after 100 years. It kind of rotted away. So
These are the viaducts from the old days, like
from
all the
old-
islands
when
have.
they blasted through the mountains and everything with Japanese labor, Chinese labor, and all this stuff.
Exactly.
100 years ago.
Yep.
Okay, so we're on this trail going back through that area, and we come up to the first ravine, where the first passing is, and there's a trail that goes all the way down to the bottom of this ravine, and then back up the other side. And here's this new pipe going across, and there's a gate, a fence on both sides of where the access is to this pipe, and a gate. And we're looking at each other, and he says, I don't know if I can walk down there and walk back up again if I've got that much energy. And we're standing there. He says, well, I guess this is as far as we go. And right as he says that, we look at each other, and there's this tall Asian gal, very athletic, who walks up to the gate on the other side, which we assumed had been locked, right? She opens the gate, walks across the pathway, across the ravine, and opens the gate in front of us. And Gary and I just stand there dumbfounded with our mouths open going, oh, that would have been easy. Yeah, it's like, there was no words to be said. It was like just shaking our heads going, come on, here. We just had to laugh at the moment.
Absolutely.
It was just hysterical because we were trying to figure a way to get across. And then this gal comes along and shows us up. What do you mean it's not locked? You just walk through. It was so funny.
I love it, though.
Yeah.
There's a wormhole right here.
Yeah, exactly.
You folded the paper in half,
Mo's flip, yeah.
You got it. Yeah.
One-sided paper.
Thank you. Thank you. Gosh, that's just amazing. Well, that must be some part of what draws me to you, then. It must not be just the fact that we grew up in the same area. Did you go to Ridgefield High School and everything?
I only went as far as they had the 9th grade at the East Ridge Junior High.
Okay.
And then high school was relegated back to just 10th, 11th, 12th when I was there. But I would have gone. Yeah, I was class of 72.
That's crazy.
Because I'm old.
I'm just trying to think of what from the area is still there. I mean, Merwin Meadows at the end of Lover's Lane there and the whole bit. And Ridgefield really looks the same. Today it looks the same as it did when I grew up. So I assume that would be true 20 years prior or whatever.
My godfather was instrumental in that. He sponsored my family to this country back in '55. If I can go back there. So I was born in Germany. My dad was a master photographer, a press photographer, photojournalist. And my mother was a master watchmaker, along with her 2 older sisters and my grandfather, her dad. And that's kind of where I get my 4-dimensional thinking from. 4 dimensions, 3 dimensions plus time. So, because I'm an ASA certified mechanic too. Well, they've all expired now, but so I can visualize an engine working. I can see 3 dimensions.
You can see the transparency.
In time.
Yes.
I can see the 4th dimension. So that comes from the watchmaking part of the side of the family.
Well, I see 2 things there. I mean, you've got a balance of such a creative, I guess right brain or whatever. I forget which one's which. And then the analytical. Yes. I mean, the amount of German engine and just to be able. That's a whole different.
I'm afraid to learn something new. Because there's only so much you can put inside the head. I'm worried that I'm going to learn something new and something else is going to eject out the back. Exactly.
Jettison that thought.
What did I just lose? I learned something new. What did I lose?
Well, I have a theory on that, and I don't think it's that far-fetched because we have computers to look at nowadays. But I think we got RAM and ROM, right?
Yeah.
So
we do.
I think it just goes to the archives. I don't think it ever gets purged out. I think you could access it again. It's just you got to kind of we got to go down and find it down in the basement. Or whatever.
I agree with you. It's not going to be like the next week when you're like talking about something. It's going to be a month later where you're like, oh, that.
Because it's definitely not gone.
It's there.
That's what I've found.
It is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just ruined my short-term memory, so I've learned how that goes. Like. I always find it later, but it's in the
true.
long term.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Yeah.
From the movie, yeah.
The worst.
That's a Hawaii movie, 50 First Dates.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Bad Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore.
Yeah. Were cars a big thing in your life when you were in Ridgefield? I know that there were nice cars around, and you mentioned your dad.
We had a friend when my dad, later after he got out of the photography thing, because he got into publishing and printing and stuff, and we had a friend named Mr. Passmore from Manchester and Hull in England, and Dad made over 40 trips back and forth across the Atlantic.
Wow.
On business, and in the printing business mostly, publishing and all. So he represented the companies that represented. Basically, your magazines like Reader's Digest, Red Book, and all them back in the 60s, it was cheaper to have them printed in England and shipped back to the U.S. than it was to ship to print
here.
To print here. So that they would etch all the plates here. They would do all the color separations here. They would do everything else. and ship all the plates and everything else over to England, print them there, and then ship them back.
How do you know about all of this and the plates and everything?
was
Just
there.
through really?
I was
And-
there. I've been to the places where they made the plates and.
But did you know that that's what my dad did for a living as well?
Are you serious?
He was a commercial
Are
photographer,
you serious?
and then a graphic artist where they would move the plates, and
this
then
this
they
is
would
total chicken skin.
for print and General Foods was one of their clients, so they would do all of the the food packaging
Right.
and all that stuff. Yeah,
Well, that's
years
why
and years
you
and
and
years.
I had to meet. I mean,
But growing up in that same area, doing
Right.
that same work.
Yeah.
I always talk about where we grew up in that Silver Mine area, Wilton, which is part of Norwalk, part of New
Silver
Canaan, the
Mine,
whole
yeah.
thing. That it was an artist colony. They had the artist
Right.
school there in New
Yeah.
Canaan and the whole bit. Did you know that area at all? Did you ever cross over into Wilton and like the reservoir and all that? You know that area?
I was a Boy Scout. We camped everywhere. I was actually an Eagle Scout. I camped 14 months of my life in the first 14 years in my total outdoor camping time. And we camped everywhere around Fairfield County and over in New York State and stuff, in all weather, all year round, in blizzards, in
Well, Pound Ridge was in your backyard.
Pound Ridge. Oh, yeah.
And-
Pound Ridge Reservation. Yeah, the lean-tos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. These were like where you would go on a field trip or whatever with school.
Big stone
So cool.
lean-tos that were like almost Revolutionary War era stuff. You know, it's
Wild
just
turkeys
amazing.
everywhere.
Wild turkeys everywhere. Berries in the bush and all that sort of thing.
So weird to hear someone else talk about where you grew up.
Did you ever eat skunk cabbage?
No, but we stepped on it and it was awful. It grew up in wherever it was wet on the ground, and you step on it when you're trying to get through the woods to your buddy's house or whatever the heck, and it just, oh, God.
One of the survival things I had to do one time, I had to survive, for several days. And stuff.
Cook that shit?
You cook it and all the stink comes out of it.
Oh, that
Skunk
makes
cabbage.
sense.
It's like cabbage. But
Well, it's a beautiful
get-
leafy green. I mean, it's
Yeah.
incredibly leafy.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
But
Wow.
the heart, yeah. So I've eaten skunk cabbage.
Good for you.
I've eaten squirrel, but
Where?
Kind of like chicken.
Oh, in the Scouts in Connecticut?
In the Scouts.
Oh, that's funny.
Stuff like that,
That's crazy.
Oh, my.
There was another local celebrity, not David Letterman, although he lived right between the two of us.
Right, exactly. He did. Weird.
Another local celebrity, of course, was and a car celebrity, Mr. Paul Newman. Your dad goes back with him, but I would love to hear the story about that famous photograph because we all know the photograph and I know the yard.
Which is
So anything you
bizarre.
want to talk about that?
Okay, well, Paul belonged to the same. I actually met him.
And this comes back to your dad as well, right? So it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
big tie-in all around.
Well, Dad belonged to the PCA, to the Porsche Club, in the same region down there,
Zone 1.
Zone 1. And one of the other members was Paul Newman. Well, my dad knew him for several different reasons. Where do I start the connections? My dad would borrow cars from a dealership in Greenwich, okay, owned by a race car driver who died in Argentina, riding in Buenos Aires. And this is
What? You go ahead.
this
go ahead.
is
incredible.
convoluted, but this gentleman is the one who the Enthusiast of the Year award is named after by PCA, and Harry was a friend of Dad's, and Harry owned the dealership and tried to convince my dad to become a race car driver. And so Dad would borrow cars from the Blanchard Motors, from Harry Blanchard, and photograph them. And so the cars that he photographed basically came from Harry Blanchard's dealership in Greenwich, which isn't there any longer. And Harry had a top mechanic who was the one that my dad knew, and he told me his name at one time. I think it was Tony or something, I'm not sure. But this mechanic is the one that Paul approached, or that did the work on Paul's Volkswagen and put a Porsche motor in his Volkswagen, because one of the biggest thrills that Paul had was passing Cadillacs uphill on the Merritt Parkway. Now, the Merritt Parkway is the first limited access highway in the world, the one that Hitler sent people over to study to pattern the Autobahn,
Autobahn,
over.
yeah.
It was the
Really?
first highway with with on ramps and off ramps.
The logo for the Autobahn is basically the Merritt Parkway.
Yeah.
It's just this logo.
For that was in 1932 when Hitler first came to power.
Okay.
Too. Okay, so Paul would get on the Merritt Parkway nearby where we lived, and he would take his VW, and roll down his window next to the car and go, "How do I get out of second gear?" type thing. For real. This is the original guy who'd pass a Cadillac going uphill, rolling down his window saying, "How do I get this thing out of second gear?" And then march on up the hill and pass it. Okay? And
Do you know, did you ever see this happen? Do
No.
you know which car
No.
this was?
No, this is when I was too young.
Okay.
But it was a bug that he had.
Okay, well, there was a bug. I knew that he had a V8 mid-engine right behind the seats, and you could see the air cleaner sticking out above where the back seats would be. It had a roll cage on everything. That was my generation. But Letterman tells a story of a VW Rabbit that he put a Porsche engine in, and I'm wondering if it might be what you're talking about, because I never saw that one. But Dave talks about it, and whenever he talks about Paul Newman.
Oh,
so I was just curious which
later.
bug in the whole
Well,
bit.
it's funny.
Anyway,
But
that was his thing.
They got
sure.
together, and Dad had to do a photo shoot for Porsche on a '59 Type B. So he was always scouting out locations, getting ideas, and so he asked Paul in a meeting, whatever,
Try and find the photo.
could I get permission to do a photo shoot in your backyard, which was right on Long Island Sound in Westport, Connecticut, with these Revolutionary War cannons in the backyard on a pebbly beach. And so he set the shot up with this blue 356 with a red interior, with a model sitting on the front fender, and a mocked-up photographer who was a model. Supposedly, it's like Garry Shandling
In the show.
in the show,
Yeah.
pulling it out the way Gary did
From Larry Sanders.
from
Yeah.
Larry Sanders. And my dad did that with some of his photographs.
He set the scene within the scene.
He set the scene within the scene,
Yeah.
exactly. So he took this picture, this iconic photo of this car with this model, and a photographer taking a picture of the model while he's taking a picture of the setup.
Cool.
Okay, and it's so iconic because Christophorus.
Oh, here it is. I just found it. I couldn't find it, and I just found it.
Christophorus.
You keep going. I'll show it to the camera.
Yeah, and so they double trucked it, front and back cover on the Christophorus magazine.
Wow.
So I have the American version and the German version of the magazine
everyone
that
knows
I've
this
collected,
photo.
that I've only collected in the last year, thanks to some Facebook friends and stuff like that who helped me.
That's
find the
pretty
copies.
neat.
So yeah,
Yep, that was it.
and I was with George Hussey in Atlanta, Automobile Atlanta, and we were visiting the Atlanta, Porsche facility.
One Porsche Drive.
And
Ray Schaefer.
We are Ray Schaefer. So we are walking to the 356 restaurant, and on the way is like a museum walkway with photos, so historic photos. And I've been telling George about this photo my dad took, and all of a sudden, there it is, displayed on the museum walkway. And I started crying. I said, "Oh my God, that's my dad's photo." And he said, "You're kidding." And it was total chicken skin. And I'm crying, and they're looking, and it's just, that my dad's work was so well recognized and stuff. It was really interesting.
Incredible.
Yeah. And so we went into the restaurant and whatever. But getting back to Paul, so Paul gave Dad permission to take this picture in his backyard. Almost no one now, thousands of people know that picture is taken in Paul Newman's backyard.
So funny.
Nobody knew forever.
Really?
I mean, really, because my dad told me, as an aside, as a kid when I was younger, that picture that was taken in Paul Newman's backyard. I said, "Really? Yes." Nobody knows. It's just a set, right?
The funny thing is, I know where Paul Newman, because I'm that guy. No, everybody did. But I also grew up in the area, and where I thought this was, because I saw Westport as well, but I thought this was Campo Beach. Because I sat on those, I have pictures on me sitting on those cannons when I was a kid, but it's all still Westport regardless, and it's all still within blocks of each other. I had no idea. It's so cool to me. This is one of the photos that gets people into Porsche.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
You know what I'm
shot.
saying?
Yeah.
it captures everything you want about a driving experience. Like, it's really warm and just whatever. It feels nice and lively. I love it.
Well, my dad, George Mench, did photography not just for Porsche. He did it also for Mercedes, for Volkswagen, for Rolls-Royce, for Lancia, for BMW. And I've collected a lot of the postcards that he made these pictures out of. He produced over 130 postcards in his early years through the 60s. And
So
of
was
those,
this an advertisement for Porsche then? This
Yes.
wasn't just a
Yes.
oh, that's
Yes.
incredible. Well, then, I mean, then I wasn't kidding. This is a car that gets you into Porsche.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but he took other ones with Porsches by single wing aircraft, at little airports, and by a pool in Florida and different stuff. I've got all these pictures, and a lot of them I've posted. Of course, I haven't posted anything about the Mercedes work, which was extensive. He got one of his photos from Mercedes. He got an international award as one of the top 100 photographs in the world. Taken from Mercedes with some forsythia and a young model who was a friend of what's her name?
I'm going to need more than that.
Yeah,
But I can help. I can definitely help.
yeah,
Somebody.
somebody. Anyways, damn it,
Oh, don't worry about it. We all have that.
whatever. Yeah.
Let's talk about cars, though, if we can. As far as what kind of cars you have now in Hawaii. Is this you threw out a number before. Is that a constant rotation of what those are, or is it a number that tends to keep going up?
I'm limited right now because I need to build another garage. The garage is already bigger
Well, that's
than
a
the
good
house.
problem.
The garage is bigger than the house. We have a small house, but the garage is larger, and I need to build another garage.
Yeah.
There's
So
seven-
that number will go up then. It's not just a rotation.
Well, right, we need to build another garage just to cover what we have.
Oh, you're already.
We're
car
maxed
overextended.
out.
I see.
Well, I've got others. I'm
Car
using
storage
some other
overextended.
garages for some other purposes right now because we sell a lot of woodwork and stuff, local woodwork in our gallery as well.
Oh, really?
So I've got some wood stored in one garage that needs to hold another car. And
You've got some consolidation to do.
I got some.
Well, I'd like to
serious
take
work.
this moment to reach out to Mr. Matt Farah and say that it sounds like you might be able to open up a second exotic car storage on the Big Island just for this guy. Oh, my
Heads up.
goodness.
Good idea.
But, well, the Aloha spirit means that you open yourself up and you share as well. And I get as much of a thrill out of sharing the experience of one of my classic Porsches as I do driving them myself. Last weekend, we had our Sweetheart Run on the Big Island Club, and we had 45 people participate in 23 Porsches, and 5 of those I loaned out to other people.
Ah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Classic air-cooleds,
Super cool.
Yeah.
I've got a couple pictures here of what you left behind. Should I throw them up?
Oh, sure.
Let's look at this one first. That's
What's this?
just a couple cars in a garage there.
Just a couple cars in the garage. That's half the garage.
I think if we show the other side, you can see that there's at
Yeah.
least another. There's a 356
There's a
tucked over
356.
there.
There's actually my wife's 928 S4 underneath that pile of stuff that she covers it with.
Oh my goodness!
I blew
It's
it up
protected.
in the garage.
It's protected.
Belt slip, launched out the valves. I blew it up. It needs to be fixed. But,
Yeah, and then it looks like a little race car over there. Is that the blue one you were talking about before?
yeah, that's a 74. That's the one Gary was into.
Super cool.
Now, I taught my oldest grandson how to drive stick in that car. We went for the Porsche parade in Lake of the Ozarks, and we drove from Vegas to Missouri and back, 4,000 miles in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
And he turned 16 during the trip, and I taught him how to drive a stick in Missouri, and he did most of the driving on the way back.
Whoa.
So,
How was that for you?
well, he's now 3 inches taller, 3 foot sizes larger, and he graduates this June. I got to go up to Oregon and go see him.
Congratulations. That's wonderful.
How
That's
did I get so
fantastic.
freaking old?
When did that happen?
We all do.
My oldest grandson is graduating high school.
I know.
At least it's the
trippy.
oldest.
Yeah.
You've still got time. We're not out of, you know what I mean?
I got 3 more grandkids coming up.
Oh, you really?
All from the one daughter, yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you meant already.
No.
Like they're lined up. We've got them scheduled for the next 6 years. 3 grandkids. Let's see. How and why did you end up in Hawaii? Hawaii is also, you don't
My
know
dad.
this. We got married there. Hawaii is very special
didn't
to
know
us.
that.
We used to go when our lives were different. We would go multiple times a
Where
year.
did you get married?
Shipwrecks. We would go to Kauai
Yeah.
on the other side,
Shipwreck.
and shipwrecks right outside of the Hyatt there.
Right.
We would always rent a house.
Oh, cool.
We would always live like locals. You know what I mean? Buy our own fish and fry that shit up and everything.
Great.
Yeah, it was great. So how about you? Why did you end up there?
I came out twice to visit my dad. And the first time was in 1990 for his wedding. And he was, so he was getting married there. We stayed in the Ritz-Carlton, which was brand new at the time, which is now the Fairmont Orchid on the Big Island. And stayed there for a week, and he got married. And then went back. I was living in Naples, Florida at the time. And then I made a second visit in 93, late 93. And at that time, I came back and I felt so much like I was coming home. And so I basically went back to Florida, packed up, and moved there. I sold
Whoa.
off everything I had, and that was
Wow.
it.
That's it.
I did a couple of interviews before I left to see if I could find a job in one of those resort hotels at the Hilton or something. And
What was the answer? Did you?
no,
Because I heard that's the hardest part about moving. We've looked into this. We looked into this many times.
at that time, the market tanked in the early 90s, and the Japanese had invested heavily, and it just, the whole area just tanked, and there weren't much for jobs. And so I lived off my savings and whatnot that I had for a few months and just kind of bummed, got myself back into shape, walked and jogged every day, and get back into feeling healthy and stuff. And after 3 months, and I saw my account dwindling at the bank, I said, I have to find some work. So I went out the first day and found 2 jobs.
Huh. Okay.
Anybody who wants to work can find work. Okay. So I found a job working at Merriman's restaurant for 1 day a week, and at the Papillon
Merriman's.
Helicopter. Merriman's, #1 restaurant on the Big Island. And
They put one on Kauai 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like
yeah,
that.
Peter. Yeah, I worked for Peter. So I worked for Peter, and I worked for Papillon Helicopter. I'd work 40 hours in 3.5 days, which gave me 3.5 days off. Okay, so 3.5 days straight working, 12-hour days or whatever. And then, then it was just great to have all this time free. So I picked up, working nights, 1 night a week. I'd fill in at Merriman's until I finally got the job I was looking for at the Hilton Hotel running their fine dining establishment. Because I was grown up
Running it, like head of food and beverage.
Well, no, I tried
managing
to be,
the
but
restaurant.
I managed the restaurant.
Okay.
I made it the #1 Italian restaurant in the state of Hawaii at the time.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Well, it's also probably a bit of a feat, right? Selling
Huge.
Italian food in paradise.
Yeah, but it was. I had to go to work in a tuxedo. It was fine dining with silverware, with perfect service and everything else, and I knew what to do because I'd been in it, and I was grown up that way. We were raised knowing which fork to use, all that sort of thing, and so
You were? Or we were? Were you saying we?
I'd say we
We were
probably
the poor family in a very nice neighborhood.
we were a poor immigrant family in a nice neighborhood too.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Same thing. But
very
we had
funny.
to learn how to fit in by knowing.
Oh, that's exactly right. You had to pick up on local customs.
Right.
Yes, I learned all of the shit that people think I was born with a silver spoon right up my asshole. It's not true.
Same.
Not true at all.
Same.
Not true even a little bit. We had
Yeah,
nothing.
we came with suitcases.
Yeah.
So this is all from suitcases, and that's kind of the way I arrived in Hawaii too. And now we own the biggest local art gallery on the Big Island, Harbor Gallery, which has been there for 30 years.
Wow.
So
wife, Ellie, and I.
show-wise, we should think about starting wrapping up. So please talk about the gallery. I want to know about the gallery. I want to promote the gallery.
It's over 200 local artists only.
Whoa.
200 from the Big Island, And we got a couple from Oahu, a couple from Maui, a couple from Kauai, but 95% of it's from the Big Island. And it's also Porsche headquarters for the Big Island.
No.
Since I'm president of the Big Island Hawaii Porsche Club and founder.
You can make it whatever you want. I love it.
Well, this all came about when, it was longer than 4 years ago, but 4 years ago, the Hawaii Club made me the liaison for the Big Island. We had 12 members, 12 PCA members on the Big Island. Today we have almost 150.
Good job.
amazing.
Yeah. So we've, done incredible things. We have events every month. We just have a blast. We have a great group. I mean, with 100 members, 50 of them show up, for an event like our Oktoberfest, which is great. Oktoberfest, we end up down at Kona Brewing. Kona Brewing, of course, was founded by Cameron Healy. Cameron Healy, who races vintage Porsches.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Is the same as Kona beer?
Kona
didn't know
Brewing,
that.
yes.
I did not know that.
Cameron Healy. So Cameron, and all of his race
I wrote
cars.
this thing about Harry Blanchard in Greenwich, by the way. I wrote this down because this guy used to work for Bob Sharp, Nissan,
Bob Sharp.
in Wilton.
Yeah.
But same thing,
Bob Sharp
race driver who
Motors.
owned
Sure.
and it was Bob Sharp, people don't know this, who got Paul Newman.
Yes.
I was there
I knew
during the
that.
years when they were talking about it, and then they did the deal when he bought the Volvo dealership in Milford,
Right,
Connecticut's own.
right.
Sorry.
And Bob Sharp stole
We're-
Paul Newman away from Porsche into the Nissan.
Is that
Datsun.
is that true?
Datsun, yeah.
Oh, my God,
That's
it's
when
so
he started
funny.
racing Datsun.
It's so funny.
And I thought Paul Newman was such a traitor for leaving Porsche and going to Datsun. Datsun, you're going to take this little upstart
I always thought it was the
Japanese
other way
company?
around. I didn't realize it was vice versa.
Yeah, he
didn't
started
realize
off
that.
with Porsche. Yeah,
It's crazy pants.
yeah. And then he went to Datsun. So funny. Big Island, small planet.
How many of those 150 members? See, it's PCA, so you actually have to own a car, right? Because you got to register a
Right.
VIN number to join.
We
so
have
even though you
just
loan out
under-
cars a lot, all the members are genuine Porsche owners.
We have just under 100 primary members. In other words, you have to have at least one car
Yes.
owned, and then you have a spouse
Associate.
or associate, whatever,
Gotcha.
that go with that. So our total membership of primary members is just under 100, and our total membership is about 150, between 145 and 150.
I
Good
bet it's a
job.
freaking blast out there. Driving
Yeah.
those
We
cars
have-
in that
we
climate,
have
I can't imagine.
Such great roads. And this last trip we
Really?
took,
the Big
yeah.
Island is totally different.
beautiful.
We're used to
Oh,
Kauai with one road
oh,
all the way
man.
around.
And it's stop and go at 30 miles an hour in Kauai.
So imagine going up to Loop Road, but not going all the way up to Loop Road, but taking those twisties to get up
Okay.
there. Imagine that in a fun car instead of a rental
gorgeous.
Jeep.
You guys have to come out. You
We'd
have
love
to come out to
We
the Big
love
Island.
Hawaii. Now that
I have
we've
a
got
car for you to
friend,
drive.
Now that we've got a friend and we
Or
don't
two
need to
or
rent a
three.
car.
One of the biggest motivations I had, I got to say this, when I had my 2 strokes 4 years ago.
My
whole-
plug, folks. Double plug. You have 2 strokes.
2 at the same time. 2 major strokes. I mean, the brainstem stroke should have killed me. It took out my whole left side. And the other occipital lobe stroke took out my vision in my right eye for about 5 months till it came back. And this is a constant work. This is getting this back. But this is coming back better and better. The feeling's coming back. The pins and needles is gone. I'm walking better.
I was going to ask about your walking. How is that?
I drive a lot better than I walk. That's how the walking is.
Fair enough.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, the motivation was to be able to push that clutch down and drive my classic 911.
Got to get back in the car.
I got to get back in the car. And kudos to Michelin, to John Bodinick. John Bodinick at the parade that I went to right after the strokes in Vermont, where I was raised, Connecticut and Vermont. And I went to the parade in Vermont up at Jay Peak. And he put me in a brand new Porsche Carrera with PDK. And
You were able to drive it.
I was able to. It was the first car I drove after my strokes. 2 months after my strokes, I'm driving a brand new frickin' Porsche. Okay.
That's a good memory.
Yeah.
That experience.
And
is
John and I have
awesome.
been friends ever since, too. It's wonderful.
Kudos,
With
John.
Michelin. John Budinick, yeah.
That's a neat story.
You've made a lot of friends throughout this this relationship
Boy,
with Porsche
have
and the
I.
Porsche cars.
I just needed a vehicle, I guess, to tap into getting to know these people and getting reconnected and stuff, because I've got such history with Porsche with my dad and stuff. I mean, it goes wide and deep. When Ferry Porsche came to his first Porsche parade at Aspen in 1960, Ferry drives up in a car he bought to ship back to Germany, a white Ford station wagon. Now, he couldn't be seen driving into the parade in a white Ford station wagon. So, because of my dad's connection with Eric Felius, who was the first president of Porsche Cars North America when they moved away from Hoffman, Dad and he were born in the same city in Łódź, Poland. Talk about connections, right? So they became friends, and he's the one who arranged Dad to take the shots and all that with Harry Blanchard for the dealership. And so Ferry's coming to his very first Porsche parade. And he couldn't be seen in a white Ford station wagon. So he meets my dad. They made arrangements. There were no cell phones back there. They made arrangements with letters and with telegrams and whatever, and phone calls. And they arranged to meet in a mountain pass away from Aspen, up above, on a gravel road. And my dad took pictures, and I have them. And Ferry transfers into my dad's car, into his 59 1600 Super, and my dad drives Ferry Porsche into his very first Porsche parade. I mean, that's like a forever connection.
Yeah.
It's just...
What can I say? Like I said, it's in the DNA with you.
Oh,
I told you, it goes deep.
It really deep.
I can't figure out what our connection is or why we were meant to meet, but there are far too many parallels for it not to have been for a reason.
There are no coincidences.
Yes, exactly.
There are
well
no
said.
coincidences.
Well said. So I look forward to the future of this relationship, whatever that might be.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally, man.
We should wrap it up today, but is there anything we didn't get to that you wanted to?
I want to give you guys gifts.
Oh, well, I guess we have time for that.
I have one stuck to the back of my cell phone, of course.
Yes.
Like you have a Porsche sticker.
I do.
I have a Porsche sticker. Well, I've got an extra one for you, too.
Love it.
Thank you.
From
This
our
is the Big Island, Hawaii.
That's our logo.
And
The
it's
Big Island, Hawaii, Porsche Club of America.
Zone 11.
Designed by my youngest brother, George.
No.
Who is a graphic designer. He was with a firm up in, he's still in Vermont, but he does this for a living. And so we gave him parameters and said, come up with something.
Is this
That's
a magnet?
a magnet.
You're kidding me.
That'll go onto your, there you go. There you go. And this I have special connection to. This is a pink pig sticker. I have in my latest, you got to turn it the other way. Oh, you got it there. Okay. I have two 86 944 turbos, or 951.
Wait, hang on. Let's go to the video. Well, I have a picture of it. That's me sitting on that's me in my Letterman jacket that David Letterman gave me. It's his late show on the back after the story. And that's me sitting on the hood of my 86 944 turbo that I owned in 97 or 98, whenever this was.
Unfucking believable.
That I bought because Mr. David Letterman used to drive his around town.
Unfucking believable.
That was my first nice car. That
Are we brothers
my
by
dad,
a different mother or something?
My dad died. Could be the same. Could be the same one.
Does your mother talk with an accent too?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. So
you were going to say you have two of those.
Yeah. Well, the reason I have two is because Porsche Parade last year was in Boca Raton, and I'm wearing the shirt from Boca Raton. Okay, from the parade. To ship a car from Hawaii to Florida, I ran all the numbers on it, and shipping it there and back was $8,000. So I said, I have a budget.
Is this because it's on the other side of the country and Panama Canal?
The other
You know what I mean? If it were just Los Angeles, it wouldn't be as bad. But because you've got to go the other...
6 time zones away, whatever. So, anyways. No, it's not so bad. If you just ship it to the West Coast, it's about $1,000 each way.
That's what I thought.
But then it's $2,500 across country, plus 1,000. So there's
Got to
you
take
know,
the car train at some point.
got-
There's a lot involved
there's
here.
a lot involved. So I had a budget, and so I found an '86 944 in Massachusetts
Oh my God.
for $7,000.
Is it black?
It was black.
I wonder if it's mine. Wouldn't that be something?
That would
be
You know
so
what?
cool.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It would
Mine was an
not-
86 and a half.
It would
wouldn't be
not
surprised.
surprise me.
Black,
Black-
on black with phone dialers. And I
No,
don't know if it
phone
still
dials,
did.
but it didn't have a black interior. It
Oh,
had
do you
a
have
tan
the bone,
interior.
that bone, that
The
really
tan.
pale? Oh, that's
Yeah,
my
the
favorite
grayish.
because of the two-tone.
gray
I
beige.
wanted that so
grayish.
bad.
Yeah,
Grayish.
so that's
I
what
did.
that's what it has. It's got the grayish interior.
Love it.
But it needed a paint job really bad. So, anyways, I shipped it down to George Hussey, my friend at Automobile Atlanta, because my best buddy, we were roommates 26 years ago before I moved to Hawaii in Naples, Florida. And I shipped the car down there to him to store for BOCO, So I shipped the car down to him, and it needs mechanical work. So I shipped up from that location in Naples up to George up in Atlanta. And they do the work on brakes and on everything else that it needed. And it needed much more than I bargained for. I mean,
Always.
I could have bought 3 of them for what I paid for to fix everything, but I just love this car. So, but now I come to the point after all the mechanicals are done, it needs a paint job. And I don't have it in the budget for $10,000 for a paint job. So I start looking around nearby in Marietta, north of Atlanta. Where is there a place that can do a wrap on the car? I got to do a wrap. But what am I going to do? I said, I loved the pink pig theme that Porsche did for Rennsport and everything else and the pink pig. So I said, let me see if there's some place that could do a pink pig wrap. And this wonderful place down there, they nailed it. They nailed it so good. They're called Wrap Stars, and they're in that area just north of Atlanta. Wrap Stars, and the gal that's a husband and wife team, and she is such a great graphic designer. She researched the whole thing. She couldn't believe how much information there
That's
was
something.
about this.
It's so
And,
pretty.
yeah.
Really
So,
well done.
Yeah, it's beautifully done. It looks even better in person. And she did just a spectacular job on a car. $2,300 for a wrap versus $10,000 for a paint job.
Yeah.
Hello. And it's
And it's
much more
protected.
striking. It's protected and it's much more striking. So I had it wrapped and it went to the parade. It goes to the parade. It got first place award from the kids judges on the concours field. Okay.
Kids' Choice Award.
Kids Choice Award, beautiful trophy, got a blue ribbon besides that, all this stuff. And shout out to Lori Schutz, okay, Lori Schutz, Peter Schutz's daughter, who takes care of the historics, and we've since become friends too. And she's the one who got the car on the display there, along with the Pink Pig Wrap tractor and all the little ones.
Yeah, I saw that
and the other
too.
one, right.
I love that.
And that's from John Oates. That's
Right.
John Oates' tractor.
I didn't realize it was wrapped. I always thought it
Yeah.
was painted from the from Rennsport.
Well, it might be
They
painted.
did the tractor races
Well,
with Wart and everybody.
No,
it was so
that
great.
might be painted. Okay,
But it was great to see the livery on the tractor.
right. But I know the people who take care of it. And all that's stored in Florida and all this stuff. It's amazing how many connections there are to everything. But the car just up on a hill in the middle of the whole concours field, it just got so much attention. Probably the most photographed car they had at the whole parade.
Well, it's also unique to see the pink pig on a 951. That was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you did something different. I love you. I just do.
I love you too.
I just do. And I'm sorry that we're out of time, but it doesn't mean you have to leave. We can still talk. We're
Oh.
just out of time for everybody else.
How long is your day?
There's not anything going on this week, is there? Oh, no, not too much at all.
No, not much.
Final thoughts. We're doing a new segment now these days. We call Final Thoughts. If there's anything you would like to leave this world with, this is messages for Gunner to talk to the rest of the world. Or at least your friend at home.
How about some personal philosophy.
Great.
Okay? You own everything you see. The only thing we own in life are life's experiences. And all that money does is allow you into a few more exclusive experiences. I cite the bum on the beach looking at the beautiful Hawaiian sunset. And the guy standing next to him just spent $8 million building a house on the shore to enjoy that same sunset. They're standing next to each other. They're both enjoying that experience together. And one guy didn't have to pay a dime for it. You know, so that's all we own. That's all we take with us is our experiences. And that's why you've got to live for every day. And I don't mean to make you cry, but it's one of those things. You know, I've come close to death. I've got 6 of my 9 lives left.
You have it. You've got
I
the
have
tally.
6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well, a heart attack 4 months ago, you know, the melanoma.
Wait,
golf
heart
balls.
attacks. I knew about the strokes. I
Oh,
didn't know you had
had
a heart attack.
I gave myself a heart attack at rehab 4 months ago.
You're a silly fella. We don't have time to talk about your heart attack. Now, who brings up a heart attack at the last minute? We're saying goodbye. Oh, by the way.
By the way.
No, I mean, it was like Bernie Sanders. You know, they just went in through my wrist, up my arm, put 2 stents in my heart, and kicked me to the curb the next day. I was home in 48 hours.
Yeah.
They put 2 stents in my heart, and I got a major tune-up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet you felt better immediately.
Oh, right away.
Yeah,
My
more
heart
energy?
rate is now 10 to 20 beats lower per minute than it was before.
Does that
working
now
out.
allow you to exercise more because of it?
Yes.
That's
I don't
great.
break a sweat as much.
That's huge.
I mean, my heart rate is lower.
I mean, you want to break a
stronger.
sweat, but you don't want it to be that easy.
Well, sometimes you want that workout. You know, you want that
Yes.
that level of intensity. And doing the same workout, I wasn't getting as intense anymore. So it's really interesting.
Do you feel like you got something from Garry when he died?
Oh, boy, did I.
I'm talking to you.
Boy,
I feel
did
like
I.
I'm talking to him, and that's why I'm saying it, because I'm not, and I don't know what that experience was like, because like I said, every time we met was very, very short and casual at Saturday Night Live when he was on his way to Lauren's office.
Right.
But when I'm talking to you, I feel like, oh, this is what I imagined it would be like.
He did so much, if you understood, in the background for the whole industry, for comedians, for everybody working in the industry. Few people realize. I mean, he was targeted by the mafia. He fought against so much oppression. He himself took on so much of the power struggle, the deep state within the industry.
I was going to say the Hollywood side. I know
The
some
Hollywood
of
side,
some stories
the
there.
Deep state, unreal. Just like you see in government these days, you see it in Hollywood all the time. But he took on part of this, and
He took on-
basically made it so that people would get paid for their work, get credit for their work.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, and I know who
Right.
you're talking about.
Right.
It was a big deal.
Yeah. Very big deal.
It did change things.
It did. He changed things
Mhm.
for a whole industry, and that's another reason why he's
Took on
so
Brad Gray.
respected.
That's right.
And won.
Thanks. It did change our business.
Took on Brad Gray when Brad Gray was
cool.
about as big as Brad Gray had ever
Right.
been.
That's amazing. I know so many people.
There's a lot more to that
affected
story,
by it.
obviously.
I'm sure,
he told
but
me
I
all
know
the details
so
over
many.
hours and hours of discussing
sure.
this. And
I love you,
It's
and I
special.
can't wait to talk to you off the air. In general.
Same way.
Yeah, and continue this. All right, goodbyes. What are we doing tomorrow? Who's here tomorrow, Mrs. Ryan?
Tom Rhodes, comedian.
Tom Rhodes, comedian. All right, fantastic. And that's all I have because we're not here on Thursday. I love you so very much. Gunnar Mench, we love you so very much.
you
aloha
for
to
being
my
here.
wife, Ellie, back in Hawaii,
Hi, Ellen.
and all my cats and dogs and ponies.
Come back anytime. Whenever you're in town, make this a stop. Instead
Please.
of calling Garry, please call us whenever you're in town. And we will, and I will call you the next day and say, "Oh, Gunnar, I'm so sorry. I
have a
thought.
tough
Oh,
time
geez, I
getting rid of
thought." We love everybody at home. See you tomorrow.